Clemson's getting ready for the Gator Bowl, not the Holiday Bowl against Southern California, but the Gator Bowl against Kentucky. We'll take a look at that game and answer some questions. This is the Morgan Thomas Show.
Looks like it's morphin' time.
This is my house. I built this. This is my house, and this will always be my house. Now let's continue.
Cause I love me some me. I love me some me. To be the man, you gotta beat the man.
We're gonna win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
And now, the Morgan Thomas Show.
What's up, Tiger fans? It's Morgan here, back again with another quick video about your Clemson Tigers. Hey, don't forget to hit the like button if you like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all of my exclusive Clemson content I put out every single week. All right, today I wanted to talk about the bowl game against Kentucky, not the Holiday Bowl against Southern California, but the bowl game, the Gator Bowl, the legendary Gator Bowl, the one that Clemson has gone to many times. The historic Gator Bowl against a familiar opponent in an SEC, I wouldn't say rival, but an SEC opponent in Kentucky who's in the southeast part of the country. So we'll take a look at that, answer some of your questions. I'm actually excited for it. I'll just go ahead and get started. The first question is, do you think it's better for Clemson to play in the Gator Bowl against Kentucky instead of the initially expected Holiday Bowl against Southern California? Well, you know, when you take a look at the teams individually, a game against Southern California, in my opinion, would have been much more prestigious, much more exciting on a national level. Most fans, even if they're not big-time college football fans, will say, hey, I know Southern California. I know the Trojans. You played them. Oh, you beat them? Wow, that's awesome. I can't believe you beat such a incredible football school. Even if they don't even know their record or who their coaches are, who their players are, they probably would say something along those lines of how prestigious that school is, how good historically that school has been in football. So beating that team is kind of a big deal, and having the opportunity to play that team, I think, would have been on a national level, brought more viewers to that game. Now, the problem you have is that it is in the Holiday Bowl, which so location really hurts you. That would be in San Diego in Petco Park. You'd have to travel. For Clemson fans, for Southern California fans, wouldn't be as bad. But for Clemson fans, it'd be across the country. And that's the first thing that kind of drew me away from the game. Now, what drew me towards the game is the team, for sure, and that matchup. And really, I don't think Clemson hasn't played that team but once. I think they lost 30-0 in 1966. So I don't know anything about that game, but they lost that game. So they really haven't had a lot of opportunities, really any other opportunities other than that one game to play Southern California. So that's why it's a big deal to me. It would have been really nice to have played that team in maybe a more Midwestern location, something that you could split it between the two teams. That's the one knock against a game like this, is that location there. You'd have to travel out all the way across the country at the end of the year. After you've already made all of your expenses, it would be difficult, especially the way the economy is right now. Everything's more expensive. So it would be more difficult to go across the country to watch your favorite team play. And considering it would be on TV, I probably would have just watched it on TV. Now, on the flip side, though, the Gator Bowl is actually in Jacksonville, and there's a lot of things going on that weekend that make you not only want to stay for that game, but stay for the Sunday game, because the Jaguars are playing the Panthers. Obviously not the best team in the world to play against, but you get to see Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne play on Sunday at home after staying there from your Friday game for Kentucky and Clemson. So I think it'd be a really nice weekend to stay down in Jacksonville, maybe make it a long weekend for you if you can get that day off, go down there and watch two games, knock out a professional game and a bowl game as well, see both of your favorite teams if you're a Jaguar fan, or also just see former Clemson players out there. That would be kind of cool to me. So that adds to the excitement for Clemson fans to go to the game. Not only that, but the location is not that far. Now, I know it's deceivingly far. A lot of people say, hey, it's 3.5 hours on the map, but it takes a lot longer to get there, it seems like, every single time because of traffic or whatever. So, plan accordingly. But I do think that it's much easier when you're on the East Coast in Jacksonville to Clemson versus obviously San Diego. So location, big deal for me. I may even go to this game. Again, I'm kind of hyping myself up to go to the entire weekend and just make it 2 games and come back, late Sunday or Monday. So make it a long weekend. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens to me. Maybe, me, I'll probably just end up watching it on TV because that's just how I am. But I'm a homebody. But I do feel like that the matchup, as far as overall, not so good as far as a team, but overall the game and the experience might be better than what it was if you had to travel across the country. Now, is there any chance that the Gator Bowl can affect what people will think about Clemson's overall season? Well, if Clemson wins, they would be 9-4 overall, right? So in that case, you would have, I think, a successful season. 8-4 is already a successful season. It's hard to win, as Dabo has mentioned a ton this season, especially with this team having so many things going wrong at once. But I do feel like getting a win is going to be huge. I think with the way the games are broken out now and the way that the transfer portal is and the roster management is, it's really an early spring game in my eyes. A lot of people say, well, they're mad about this person leaving or this person going to the NFL or this person opting out. I kind of have gotten over that, to be honest with you. I feel like more or less it's another spring game, another chance to get more practices in, another chance to get your young guys opportunities. If you have guys that have been with you from the start and just want to play one final game, yeah, let them play. But I honestly would tell them too, like, hey, at some point we want to try to make a transition and get some of our young guys in there and have them play more than what you would normally play in a regular season game. So I do feel like it's a good opportunity for development. Now, some on the chat have been saying, well, if Clemson loses to Southern California, for example, it wouldn't be as bad of a blow as if they lost to Kentucky. I mean, any loss is going to be difficult and make it 8-5 overall. Any loss is going to put a bitter taste in your mouth at the end of the season. And Clemson very, very well could lose either game if they played it. Kentucky's not going to be an easy out, that's for sure. But I do feel like that I can understand where fans are coming from. You lose to a SEC team, you're never going to hear the end of it. It's about as bad as losing to South Carolina. They're just going to throw it in your face. And, there's a lot of pressure there for the ACC or non-SEC teams to beat SEC teams. So I get that. And if you lose to it, then you just look worse. I get that, but you definitely want to play the game, win or lose. I really feel like no matter what, it's building to 2024. You've already got at this point, well, at the time of the game is played, you've got your early enrollees signed in. So you've got those guys that are going to be practicing with you in the spring already on the team and signed as far as your 2024 recruits. So I think get those guys in, get them some practice. If it's a loss, hey, it's a loss. I mean, at the end of the day, you kind of move on from it and try to build from it, win or lose, right? All right, so Clemson has had some tough times in the Gator Bowl. They really don't have that good of a record in the Gator Bowl. The past 3 games have been, pretty bad. If you look at 2009, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, 8-4 overall, beat Clemson 26-21. Clemson and C.J. Spiller had 2 or 3 opportunities to take the lead. They took the lead, I think, and it was late in the game, and then they lost it again late in the game. So, it was just one of those games where back and forth a little bit, but C.J. Spiller, Jacoby Ford, Cullen Harper, they just couldn't pull it out in 2009. So that was 26-21. Then you have 2001 Gator Bowl. That's Michael Vick and the Virginia Tech Hokies really took the lead and never looked back. They were one of the best teams in the country at the time. There was a lot of controversy over whether or not Michael Vick would return after that season, which I don't think he did. So Clemson 9-2 overall that season, and Virginia Tech 10-1. They won 41-20. Like I said, took the lead, really never looked back. And then 1996 was an even more difficult game, probably the worst, of the 3. The Syracuse Orange face off against the Clemson Tigers, 41-20. to 0. Both teams 8-3, but Donovan McNabb and Marvin Harrison Sr., you heard that right, Marvin Harrison Sr. absolutely torched Clemson. Came out the gate first quarter 20-0, and again never looked back. So some tough times there. But I do think that, it's fun to look back, but obviously those games mean nothing. It was so far in the past, it doesn't mean anything, for Clemson. Obviously, I think it kind of means something for Dabo, because I believe that was his, it was his last bowl game with C.J. Spiller as a player, and now he has C.J. Spiller as a coach with him to try to go back and get this win that they didn't get back in 2009. So it'll be interesting for them, to kind of look back and try to right some wrongs there from that game. But again, it's been so many years ago, those last 3 games, that, who knows what will end up. Obviously, Clemson has a overall not as good of a record against Kentucky, 5-8 overall, but they've been playing Kentucky. Really, a lot of those wins for the Wildcats were from a long, long time ago. And in the last 6 games, Clemson is 4-2 overall against Kentucky. So I think this is another chance for Clemson to get a win over an SEC team, a middle to low end SEC team, middle of the way SEC team, and beat them and get a win in the Gator Bowl. I think it will be, fun overall to get that win. Again, going back to the previous question, though, if you lose, it's going to put a bitter taste in your mouth, that's for sure. But I think any loss is going to do that. And then the final question for me tonight is, some players are not going to be playing in the Gator Bowl because they're going to the NFL. I think you look at like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. There's some controversy there with some of the fan base, like why doesn't he play that final game? And again, I've kind of, in the past, I used to be that guy that was like, they shouldn't opt out of the game. They shouldn't leave their teammates. They should finish out the season. But now, with the teams getting younger and younger, with players leaving in multiple ways, not just by graduation, but by transfers, I think you got to get your young guys as much opportunity as possible. And especially with now there being a playoff, I think that's the biggest transition in my mind, has been now that there's a playoff, that's what you play for. And if you don't get in the playoff, you would be foolish to not get your young guys the majority of the snaps, honestly. I mean, if they're going to possibly be your starters in 2024, you need to treat it like a spring game and give them as much more opportunity than you did in the regular game. Now, again, there are some seniors that have stuck with you that maybe you want to honor that loyalty and commitment to your team and give them the start. I could see that for sure. But on the other side of things, again, I'm looking 2024 all the way. So to me, if you opt out and you're going to go to the NFL, or if you're going to go ahead and get in the transfer portal, it is what it is. I mean, again, the transfer portal has kind of opened up this no rules, no regulation, free agency type free-for-all. And so you're going to lose players that way. If you have guys that have earned their chance to get to the NFL and want to commit to that and transition over to their professional development for the NFL Combine, I understand and respect that. We have enjoyed guys like Jeremiah Trotter for long enough. But then you get on the flip side, you look at Xavier Thomas. He's a guy who should be able to get into the NFL and play some years there. We'll see how good he does at the next level. But he's a guy who said, hey, Clemson's given me and stuck with me, given me all the opportunities in the world, has stuck with me from day one and stuck by his side, so he's going to finish it out. I respect that too. Again, I really don't hold it against a player one way or another doing what's best for them. Again, I feel like it's the 2024 spring game version 1, if you will. So I want to see as many young guys as possible get out there and try to win the game, but also get as much opportunity as they can. Will it change the game much? Clemson actually is pretty young, so I feel like that, it shouldn't change the game too much, because you've got a ton of guys. If there's some guys in the secondary that leave, you've got a ton of guys behind them that's already got a lot of opportunity. With Jeremiah Trotter out, I think that would be a big area that might be of concern. But when you look at the rest of the team, with Bo Collins going into the transfer portal, with Sage Ennis going in the transfer portal, Mitchell Mays on the offensive side of the ball, those guys have been out or not starting anyways. So to me, I don't think it's going to hurt Clemson as much, but we will see. As I'm doing this video, this is day one. This is Monday, December 4th, of the transfer portal being officially opened up. So chaos could happen between now and this video. We will see for sure. Hey, don't forget to like the video if you like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hey, put your comments down below, and I would love to hear from you and reply back to you as well. And as always, Tiger fans, we'll see you at the top of the hill.